Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, what I like to do is to create videos that I would have found helpful when I first got out looking for treasure. Today's going to be a fairly quick little video. I have a package here from eBay, and I actually know, I think, what's in it. So I grabbed this one because it had to buy it now, and I just really liked something in it. Now, I don't know how well I did from a stacking standpoint, because after shipping I did pay $44.44 for this, and there is definitely one piece of sterling, and I think just one piece. So we'll open her up, we'll have a quick look here. Oh yeah, you can see real quick. I'm gonna do what I usually do and just explain why things aren't actually sterling and why things might be. And actually I should note that the piece in here that is silver is I don't think sterling. What I didn't have a good handle on was like sort of the size of things. I didn't know if it was a bigger spoon or a smaller spoon. Looks like it's a smaller spoon. So I probably overpaid a little bit just on the silver front. However, I am not displeased, and I'll tell you why. The history of it's just too neat. So let's have a look and see if we did slightly better than we thought we did. Sometimes happens. So let's have a look here. This is, boy, that sure looks like copper, doesn't it? Boy, that is an interesting thing. So this is a little outside of my experience. It looks like it was plated probably, but like just real thin plate on top of copper. I think that's what's going on there. Let me grab my I got a cloth. I'm just going to shine this up a little bit and see what happens. I have, if you've been watching my videos, been a little surprised to find that what I thought was actually copper was actually just like a really crazy looking tarnish. In this case though, I'm thinking this is in fact, yeah, look at this. This is copper. So I think this is just silver plate. It seems, yeah, it's polishing up as copper. But yeah, I don't know if anyone can tell me anything about this. It's thin. It looks just old as dirt. I mean, this thing has been around. But it is definitely a piece of copper, and it smells like a piece of copper. Looks like it had plate on it at one point, and you can see little bits of it. And interestingly, there's still plate down in the bowl. Yeah, this is outside of my experience. I'm guessing it's old though. If any antique people can tell me what I'm looking at, I would really appreciate it, because this isn't what I bought this for, but this is actually a cooler thing than I thought it was going to be. But it is completely outside of my experience, so I can't tell anybody on this watching this video exactly what's going on here, other than it's old, it's thin, it's definitely been used a lot, and it was definitely plated at one point. I'm going to put that in a cool stuff pile right over here. This is plate, and not good plate. It's worn out. You can see there's verdigris. If we look at the back, yeah, any plate is just gone basically. And we have a mark, which is Rogers Brothers A1, and A1 is a mark to denote plate. So that's what that is. This one is also plate, and I can tell you just because I've seen enough of this particular pattern. And we flip her over. We have information. Yeah, there's our A1 right there for plate. We'll just go quick here. Triple plus, community silver. So community indicates plate, triple is triple plated. And you can see here where the plate's wearing through on the typical wear point. This little guy sure is chewed up, or she's sure chewed up. Sweden. Now, if this, you can see where there's copper coming through. Also, being Swedish and saying Sweden, you can see where this plate is wearing off. It would have hallmarks if it were actually silver. It would probably say like 830S if it were silver. Now this little one is kind of interesting. I think this is for sugar or salt. A1, pretty rough shape. So again, plate. Now this one is why I bought this lot. And actually, we'll go ahead and weigh it and see how much I overpaid just from a silver perspective. I got excited because I like coin silver. And that's what this is. This is coin silver. And we'll talk about who this is in a second. So we'll make this an interesting video just from a historical standpoint. Can we balance it? Will it balance? No, it won't. Can we use a dish and still zero this guy out? Will it work for us? Okay, so we're at 16 grams. So I overpaid quite a bit from a silver perspective. I thought this might have been a serving spoon. It is not a serving spoon. However, historically, it is very cool in my opinion. So what we have here is we have very typical coin silver, real thin, and that's why part of why I think this copper piece is interesting. And this copper piece might be something more interesting than I thought, is because it is also so thin. This is definitely a sign that they were trying to make use of all the materials they had, and it's the same thing here. You know, this is a nice shape spoon considering how thin this actually is. There's not a huge amount of silver involved in this, and that's one of the things you'll typically find with this old coin silver, is that there's a real they're really thin and finely made, and that's just to save on silver. They frequently are, I would say, everyone I've ever found has initials on it, has monogram of some variety, which was one of the points of coin silver. When some of the silver was being made, especially real early on, like early 1800s to 1700s, you would be melting down your coins and turning it into silverware that A, you would use. It was your silverware, but B, then you would have your initials on it, and if somebody stole it, that was some kind of security. If somebody stole your coin, they could just go spend a coin. It's just a coin. If someone stole your silverware, well, we're going to have to see about melting it down, turn it into something else. We can't just go spend the spoon, especially when we know that the spoon just got stolen off of the Johnson's farm, for example. Now, the thing I really like about coin silver, and I need to make a video. I actually have a pretty good pile of coin silver here going on. Maybe we'll make a series of shorter ones where we talk about each of these pieces. But they all have very interesting history, especially to me. You know, in America, this stuff is just neat, and its markings are typically like this. There's no marking. It doesn't tell you that it's coin silver. It doesn't tell you that it's silver, but it does have generally something like this. In this case, WP and H Stanton. It'll be a very clear mark, typically speaking, and it will be a mark that is very deliberate, I guess I should say. Like, you know, you look at some of the which piece was it here? This piece. You look at like this marking. That's not great. Like, they obviously stamped that in there, but when I say deliberate, like, they cared when they put that in there. Whoever was stamping this onto this piece of plate didn't much care. If that makes sense. There's a quality situation going on here that is very clear, especially with these good makers. Now, this particular one too, you can date it, and the way you can date it is through the mark. Now, one of the really great things about this old coin silver is that a lot of people over the years have been very interested in documenting it, and they really, pardon me, they really love this stuff. So you can actually fairly quickly come up with information. In this case, on AmericanSilversmiths.org, I was able to come up with who this maker was, and it was a pair of brothers. The WP is William Penn Stanton, and he was born in 1794 in Providence, Rhode Island. And the cool thing about this AmericanSilversmiths.org is that they actually have all this information. They have who he married. He married Mary H. Walker on the 26th of January in 1818 in Providence, Rhode Island. And he died the 22nd of January, 1878 in Rochester, New York. Now, he was a silversmith in Rochester, New York. And if you look at this particular marking, it is indicated that it's when he was a partner with his brother, Henry. And they were in a shop at 20 Exchange Street in Rochester, New York. They used two different markings. The earlier one was Stanton and Bro, and this was the later one. But when I say later, they were only a partner between 1827 and 1841. So I'm not entirely sure what later means. Basically, they were working during the 1830s, and this spoon is pretty firmly dated to the 1830s, made in Rochester. Now, his brother Henry was born 1803, so Henry would have been the younger brother. I guess that makes sense as to why William Penn came before Henry on the mark. And he got married to Susan Weld Walker. That's interesting. Wait a minute. Oh, William married Mary H. Walker, and Henry married Susan Weld Walker in Providence. I wonder if they were sisters. I'll have to look that one up. I bet they probably were, given the time this happened. And he died in 1872. So his older brother actually outlived him. Now, he was also a silversmith jeweler, watchmaker in Rochester. And again, he and his brother worked in the shop on 20 Exchange Street in Rochester. But there are old advertisings of the things that these guys did. And it's just, I don't know, to me, obviously from a silver standpoint, I did poorly. I paid, double spot for this. From a collectible standpoint, I probably overpaid for it too, because honestly, if you are a collector of these things, they are surprisingly inexpensive. Now, the reason that I have grown so fond of them, by and large, is because they really ignite my treasure hunter spirit, in that this does not really look like a silver spoon. And this kind of stuff gets overlooked a lot. Even people who know silver to a greater or lesser degree will look at that and go, oh, that's just nickel silver or silver plate. And they end up all over the place. So here in America, if you're digging through a silverware bin, this is definitely one of the things that you are liable to find. And in particular, there are something that you can even find in like antique stores and the more expensive stores, not just a thrift store situation. A lot of times when we're looking for the deals, we're looking in thrift stores. But in antique malls, things like this, especially those antique malls that have stalls where individuals run them, something like this, I mean, that's all it says. And if you plug that into Google, you might be able to dig it up if you even bother, or if you just think it looks like any old spoon. Because, I mean, realistically, it is just an old spoon. But it's an old spoon with neat history. It's an old spoon. I really wish I knew who the LDJ was. And that might be something that is potentially something I could figure out. We know that this is in Rochester. So if I can do a little digging in Rochester to find out what LDJ might have stood for, maybe we can find who this was made for, which happens sometimes. And from a historical perspective, I think that's a hoot. From a treasure hunter perspective, these things are great. I've definitely, in fact, I'm just going to reach over here real quick. I've got a pile that I have been putting together that I need to make a video on. But this is all American coin silver here that I've found. Oh, and this one too. So it's out there. It's definitely out there. There's quite a bit of it. And it's fun when you come across it and you find it. There's also all sorts of interesting variations and interesting things that you can find in it. So I hope that you can use the information from this video to go out and find yourself a bit of treasure, maybe even some American coin silver. Have a great day.
Like this, I've been Thomas.